All right, everybody, welcome back to another edition of Bourbon Banter Evans. Justin, what are we in store for today?
Well, judging on the looks of the tables, it looks like we're going to do a Weller line, or at least a version of it, since there are a couple of new Wellers out there. Yep. And yes, is it Wellers or is it Weller?
I'm thinking Weller.
I guess it depends on what era you're in, and if it's the 80s, 90s, or today.
Yeah.
But
there's
if
a lot
you have
of
any
Weller
questions, ask Steve. He will give you the definition of whether it's Weller or Wellers. That being said, we're not doing a Weller video.
Nope.
What we're going to do is, what happens when the wife finds your stash, collection, or the amount of bourbon you've purchased?
Like this collection right here.
That's what this is, the
What
Weller
do you
collection.
hear? What do you hear?
So we're going to come up with a couple of things that could help you get out of jail free, and not only that, what's in your glass. As always, we're about to pour up some Weller while we discuss this.
Yep.
We have a special guest that's going to be joining us here shortly. I think I'm going to start with the antique.
I think I'll go with you. Actually, hit that like and subscribe button too while you're out there. And this is going to be one we hope to hear quite a few comments on. See quite a few comments on.
By all means, if you've got a collection of bourbon or whiskeys or something along those lines, let us know what you said the first time when your spouse walked in and said, "Whoa, what the heck is going on here? What did you spend?"
Yep. So like this one, let's see, what's the most probably these two? No, these three right here at the end.
Yeah, the three on the end. Those are probably going to be the most prestigious and pricey ones there.
Yep.
So Charles, I can't believe you spent 3 bottles. How could you ever spend that much on bourbon?
I mean, you know what? What did you just spend the other day on your hair?
But I like my hair. You don't like my hair?
Oh, I love your hair. I always do. But I mean, mine costs $20. What does yours cost?
Well, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the bourbon here. You've got 3 bottles. One of them's not even open.
Yep. This is 1 month of you doing your hair. That's all right.
So that's one of the best examples that I've seen yet. And in that being stated, I'd like to bring on our special guest, Nicole. Come on in. Everybody, welcome to Nicole. You've seen her on BBE on Facebook.
Yep.
This is the lovely wife. So, Nicole, the first time, even though this started back in 2005, the first time that you came in, if you can remember what you saw when you saw all my original collection as it's grown over the years.
This is insane. This has taken over my house.
So, here's the perfect example. She says it's taken over my house. This is insane. And I say, you know what? You spend a whole lot more on our daughter who's taken over more than the house. That's a perfect get out of jail free example, because how are they going to argue that they don't spend money on the kid?
No.
We've also got some people
Oranges and apples.
No, we're talking about bourbon.
Yeah.
But they do, some have apples and oranges taste too.
You can't have that.
So
fruity notes, you
yeah.
know.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah, there you go. So she pays attention to the videos. This is fantastic.
Indeed.
Uncut, unfiltered, and there are people in the background joining in that if they come up with some ideas, we're going to encourage them to let them know what their spouses said and what their response was.
Yeah.
So cheers again.
Cheers.
Weller Antique. Nicole, thank you for joining in.
Appreciate it. Yep. Hit that like and subscribe button, guys. And honestly, one of the ones that always gets me is, my wife's always sitting there going, "Well, I can't believe you just spent that for a bottle." I was like, "It's only 1 bottle." She's like, "Yeah, but this." And I'm like, "Well, you just spent $20 every day for the last 5 days. It's the same price as a bottle."
That's a perfect example. So they look at that quick rip-off, like they ripped off the Band-Aid for $100,
Yeah.
but you weren't paying attention to the average person that spends $7 to $14 on coffee and other things every single day.
Yep.
And so that adds up. So my favorite thing is, oh, you're bringing home another bottle as I put it on the counter. And I'm like, well, okay, you're bringing home another Lily sale item.
Yeah.
You were waking up at what time in the morning to catch the Lily sale?
Yep, and make sure you're in the queue. That's the biggest one. You got to get in the
8
queue.
a.m.
Yep.
See, background, 8 a.m. Yeah.
Got to make sure you're in the queue because
I'm pretty sure I haven't gone to the liquor store at 8 a.m. if it wasn't work related.
Yeah, that is true. I can't say I've been to the liquor store by 8 a.m.
Yeah. Okay, so we have.
Uncut, unfiltered.
Okay,
right?
uncut, unfiltered. Yeah, so maybe I'll let the slide of the I got to get up early to catch the sale. But again, she saved me money by spending hundreds of dollars on the sale.
Yeah.
I was just saving money when I found it for MSRP.
Oh, I know. I mean, if you find it for MSRP, you have to buy it. I mean, if it's on sale, you have to buy it, right?
That only makes sense to me. Alan, doesn't that make sense if it's MSRP?
100%.
Yeah. I mean, we saved the household money by buying it at MSRP.
A lot. If you can find these at MSRP, you're saving a lot of money for the household.
And just to interrupt, like we said what we would do, this antique, so we went with the antique.
It is.
Most of these are NCF, depending on the state that you're in, come to find out. And somebody fact-checked me on that and called me out if that's incorrect or wrong. I did have some information that was given to me via some supply network as far as that goes, and it's usually specifically stated on the label if it's NCF. Like the pick that we were involved in,
Yep.
that was NCF. But for the most part, Georgia supposedly is NCF state. Again, fact check me on that. Correct me if I'm wrong. I have no problems with that. But this was my original favorite of the Weller line.
I'll tell you what,
That 107 is balanced so well.
I'll tell you what, this one's good. This one is very good.
And everything on the table is what we refer to as a shelfer. So these will be found on the shelf. These are not store picks. They're not
Right.
single barrels. They are all just your standard shelf available when they come out and when they're put on it.
Yep.
And shelf may be, behind the counter in a glass case.
Or just given away.
Yeah. And sold out of the back room
Yeah.
to the guy that came up and spent the right amount of money at
Yep.
the store.
Exactly.
That was a long one.
Well, I mean, it all depends, and we've talked about this in our videos before. I mean, it all depends on the store around here. Most of them will put them out, eventually behind the counter.
Yep. I mean,
So-
build your relationships. We've always said that.
Yes.
I don't know what your market's in. Hopefully your market is fun. Our market's pretty fun and entertaining at times.
Yep.
So that being said, I can't believe you brought home 3 bottles of that barrel pick. Why would you bring 3 of that bottle? It's the same thing. You need 3 of the same bottle.
It's unique. It's the only one there is. This is probably the only one. I can only get 3, thus I'm going to get 3.
But you got 3 of the same. It's not like you couldn't just have one and be fine with that.
Nope.
To me, the answer to that would be, how many pairs of shoes do you have?
Well, that is true.
Technically, you only need 1 pair of shoes, and you've got 12 different high heels, 3 different flip-flops, with every single strap color known to mankind. These are the strap colors right here.
Yeah, and so what it comes down to with that is when I go with the flip-flops, I've learned a lot about flip-flops in my day. Too much to be talking on this video, but yeah.
The Clark flip-flops
Yes.
with the interchangeable colored straps.
Yep.
These are my interchangeable colored bottles. That's
Just different feels.
now
different
also
tastes.
comment and let us know if you were to say some of these things. How well does it go over with the spouse?
Or are you sleeping outside that night?
Yeah.
I'm curious about that.
Yeah, and by all means, for the lady drinkers out there that are in it and say your husband's not.
Or it could be vice versa.
Yeah, what do they say?
Yeah.
Yeah, and my thing is, there's a lot of people that are really into collecting certain things, and so if you're collecting bourbon and the spouse is collecting something else,
Yeah.
do you have a rebuttal there, or do you no, I understand, you're big into music, so maybe you got a really nice piano that you're gonna pay on for the next 10 years. I understand the $10,000 in bourbon.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, let us not forget to mention the Weller Millennium for $7,500.
$7,500, yeah.
We talked about that before at Daniel's house, I believe.
But the other one is you'll sit here and we'll talk about, okay, all these bottles. Well, you just spent $150 on the bottle. Well, you didn't mind when I spent $120 to go play golf this weekend.
Yeah, so I mean that's $120 for leisure activities.
Yeah.
Well, I'm leisurely drinking bourbon.
Yeah. Yeah.
So why am I getting a little bit of grief about bringing home 3 barrel picks instead of
I
maybe I'm not gonna play golf this weekend?
think Daniel might have it. He had a good saying right there. Is probably because we were at a house for a couple hours and they didn't have to deal with us.
That could be it. That definitely could be it.
Yeah. But no, honestly, let us know what your comments are. Hit that like and subscribe button. Anybody else in the background got one?
I got some.
Okay.
What you got?
So what I learned going through this process is when the wife asks for something, just don't tell her no. Because when you say no, then she starts saying, "Oh, well, maybe you don't need that bottle."
That's a good idea.
That's
so if I say yes to every single time Nicole says she's going to go shopping at Belk
I mean,
or
within
Marshalls or TJ Maxx or something like that,
You're
then
gonna need another job.
essentially I just say yes and I don't have any problems with the bourbon.
No, I mean that's It sounds great in theory, but I don't think I could do it. I don't think any. I mean,
I don't know why Nicole has 157 t-shirts.
oh yeah, no. Yep.
So
What else?
How many people are successful in actually hiding a bottle when you bring a new one home and you don't want to confess?
That is a great one.
That's a great question.
I won't name names in this room right now, but there are people that when they bring the bottle and they make sure to hide it so that they don't get found and bring another one home, which brings me to my next point is if Nicole would come back on camera if she's around here, she's really notorious for buying a purse or something like that and putting it in the closet for 6 months. And then when I find it, I'm like, "You got something new?" And she's like,
had this.
"I've had that for 6 months. This is old."
It's all coming out now.
Oh yeah.
So I'm thinking that the way to go for this is I've had this Weller bottle for 2 years. She didn't know it's a different green one.
It's, for me, it's just I I think I might have done that once, but then eventually it all comes out. So now I just put it out there on the counter, just ask for forgiveness later if it's a problem. That's all there is to it.
I mean, we've already, luckily in our state, you're not allowed to return alcohol. You can in other states, but not in our state. So luckily, we've already committed to the bottle once we bought it home or brought it home.
Exactly.
Again, cheers. What do you guys think of Weller products? What is in your glass?
Yeah, and which one of these, if you've had them all, which one do you like the most, or which one do you like the least? I'm curious about that too.
So what I'm going to go to next is the Weller Foolproof, because after the 107, then a couple other releases came out. The Foolproof came out, and I was like, let me see what this is all about. I tried the Foolproof, and I easily switched over to that being my favorite of the line, in which
I would agree.
Nobody is going to say right now at this moment that Justin's a huge Weller fan. I've never admitted to that. I like Weller. I appreciate Weller. It's just I'm not a huge Weller fan, but it is very good. But when the Weller Foolproof came out, I started to change my tune a little bit, and then I started trying more the 12-year along the lines. I had some of the old squat bottles from back in the day. I just couldn't do the 12-year squat bottles, oddly enough, but now I really enjoy them. So I'm going to go with the Foolproof.
Well, the one that I was never really a fan, and one of the reasons was CYPB. It was as many times the older ones, they were just not good.
They weren't good.
Charles, I was just going to bring that CYPB up because I think it's one of Justin's best Weller stories, because the very first one was, whoa, what happened with this?
Yeah.
Not good.
Right. Yeah, we opened that bottle surrounding our table, and we were just shocked at how not good it was. And then
there's been some solid.
But this is 2021, and it is outstanding.
So
and I think that is when it kind of started turning around. Is right around 21, if I have my guess about it.
Yeah, that's when I tried it. Keenan was over here at the time. We decided to open it. I took a photo, and it was pink. I don't know why it turned out that way.
I do remember that.
Yeah,
I do remember
you were
that.
like remodeling.
Yeah, I was working on the lighting, whatever, but it was
sexy
pink.
Cushion
Yeah.
over here on the side. I don't know what was going on.
I think it
here.
was
That's right.
a Weller
Ask any
Fanboys cushion.
questions.
Uncut, unfiltered,
Yeah,
guys.
that's my fault.
Hit that like and subscribe button, and let us know. Let us know if there's anything we might have missed, or we could miss in this video of what you said to your wife, or what you said to your husband, if you brought home a bottle and they're like, "What the heck are you doing?"
Yeah. So here's my next question. Now that we're talking about this, because it has a feeling in the room that we may have heard some of these things as we've been through our bourbon journey.
Just maybe a few.
Maybe a few. So are we practicing what we preach when we see her bring in her 5th pair of shoes that she's going to return later if she decides that she doesn't like them? Or do we say, I've got several bottles of Weller, you can have several pairs of shoes? What's your thoughts on that there, Charles?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to say that I practice what I preach, but I would probably say that not all the time. You know, I think it's I probably give her as much grief as she gives me grief on bottles. So
I think that's what makes the world go round. In this case, if we're getting grief on what we are doing for our leisure activities, such as bourbon, then say she's addicted to golf.
yeah,
And she's the one that's golfing and is constantly buying golf outfits, or tennis, because tennis is really popular.
That is true.
Pickleball is popular right now, and big into buying the new latest greatest paddle and shoes and specific things like that. It's kind of like, all right, that's getting kind of pricey. You know,
yeah,
what are we doing here?
yeah.
Should we revamp, or should we just do what Daniel says and just never say no?
Or
That's
you get like Alan's wife and get her into bourbon, and then she enjoys it, then they don't complain either.
There's something that's key to that.
Yes. I'm glad you brought that up. Let us bring Alan on the backgrounds or camera if he would like to join us. Alan is in a unique situation that not everybody is in. But he has involved a wife into drinking bourbon, which is fantastic.
That's awesome. Yes.
We all wish we had that. She kind of controls the buying to a degree, and he gets to ask first, and he just does what she says. But he also has a small liquor store at his house. So more often yes than no's.
Yeah. So maybe that should be the litmus test right there. Maybe that's what we should do.
Alan,
It does have its downside though, because she knows enough at this point. If she walks into the house and there's a new Michter 10-year rye sitting on the shelf, it is not 20 seconds that she's walked into the door that she says, "What are you doing with a Michter 10 rye?" Like, she knows immediately, and so then we have to have a conversation,
And
because there weren't preliminary conversations had.
So I guess the one question I would have for Alan for this is, okay, so she's into it. If you bring home a new bottle and one you just bought it, she's like, okay, let's open that one. Are you going to open it right then if she wants to?
Absolutely, if that's what she wants to do.
There we
That's
go.
what I like to
Yep,
hear.
there we go.
So when Alan got propositioned for the Weller Millennium for $7,500, he said yes. She said no.
That is exactly how that went down.
Yep. And rightfully so, I think so.
Rightfully
Yeah.
so,
Matter
Rightfully
of
so.
fact, if I would say no to
Yeah,
myself.
I would too.
Yeah, no offense to the $7,500 product. It looks really pretty. I just don't know if I'm ready to rip that Band-Aid off yet. And I've ripped some Band-Aids off.
Yeah, it's just one of those where you sit there and you go, what else could I buy for $7,500? A consumable product. Hey, we've all spent enough money on consumable products.
Correct.
If you're into bourbon, you like it, you spend some money on consumable products. But I think there's a threshold.
There has to be. And my thought on this is if the threshold is, unlimited, then I'm going to go for a 40, 50-year scotch that's
Yep.
50 grand
Yep.
because it's been sitting there half a century.
Right.
This is just a 20-year wheat whiskey.
Yeah.
I don't quite understand it. I
And-
like it. I don't quite understand it.
And then we talk about, we got the Wellers and that type of stuff. It's almost like, would you go for a double Eagle Rare or something of that nature?
I mean, so what separates, that'd be a good video to do. What separates the Eagle Rare 17 from the Double Eagle other than the glass to make it go from 100-ish retail to 2,500-ish
Right.
retail?
Right.
So, again, that'd be interesting. So, in the event that you bring home that $2,500 bottle, what is your wife going to say when she finds out that it was $2,500?
She's going to tell me that I better never tell her no for buying anything again.
Therefore,
That's exactly what she's gonna
the
say.
Daniel theory goes into effect.
Yes, it does.
And Charles has signed the "you get whatever you want for the rest of your life"
I
clause.
feel like it's a very diplomatic answer for a wife. 'Cause
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know that I would get that answer.
Yeah, that might be after I was, chewed up and down,
I mean, okay. So what if your friend or spouse or whatever is really big into shooting, like game sports and things like
Yeah.
that? Like,
Well,
so,
I mean,
we saw the Olympics. There's plenty of female shooters, and those guns are very expensive.
Well, not even that, the shells, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what if
Ammunition, I should say.
you bring home another bottle and she brings home another 357?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, well.
That's my kind of woman right there.
I'm sorry, this is my third 357 this week. I've got a problem. The problem is you don't have enough time to shoot all those.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have enough time to drink all those.
Well,
now we're in the same boat again.
Well, it reminds me of the collecting video that we did
It does
about
Yeah.
this. I mean,
it can really circle right back
Yes,
to
it
that.
does.
Yeah,
It
it
does.
really does. A lot of that will circle back to that video.
but now, getting back to the Weller here, oh my goodness.
Yes.
The depth of flavor in this foolproof is amazing. It is so good.
So again, 107 for the antique, 114 proof for the full proof because that's the entry proof. Non-chill filtered for sure
Yeah.
on the full proof.
Right.
And it is literally full flavor.
It is. It's the depth of flavor compared to the 107 to me is it's unmatched. To be honest with you, don't get me wrong. The 107 is great. It is a good product.
Yeah.
If you can get it, get this.
Yes, I agree. If you can, I'm still in that boat of the full proof over it. And one thing I forgot to say, other than like and subscribe, because I'm starting to get a little better than that. Thank you guys for joining in. What's in your glass? I have my bourbon
I
socks.
was
on.
going to mention that towards the end, but yes, you do.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
you do.
Bourbon socks applied, Weller line applied, and good comebacks to possibly either get you in the doghouse or drink bourbon with your dog.
And that's what we want to hear. Let us know if you have any comments to say. What is your comeback, or what is your go-to? If your wife or your spouse, I should say, says, "What are you doing buying that bottle? How much did you spend?" And that's what we want to know.
Yep, exactly what we want to know. This is just a few of the ideas that we came up with that made sense that we see in a day-to-day living in a household situation.
And it's a video we've had it down for quite a while.
Yeah, we have it.
Yeah.
We've had it on for a long time actually. So let us know what you guys think. Let us know exactly the comments that you hear, or do you just shake it off and say, I don't care.
Yep. Or you just say, "Yep, I did. See ya."
Yeah, that's gonna be what I want to know.
Yeah,
Who do I need to be friends with?
Yeah, exactly. If you can just say, yeah, this is what I did. And they're like, okay, yep. Let me know because I'd love to see your collection.
Now, I will say we're gonna call it here. I think we've got enough good examples, and wait to hear from you guys to see what the examples are that you would return fire or just comment back. That being said, stay tuned. We will eventually do a little bit more Weller products in a Weller line. This was mostly for the setup because it was an entire series dealing with those things. So
We've we've got a good one on the books here pretty soon.
Yeah.
We've got a few people that are going to be involved with that one. I can't wait for that one.
Yeah, definitely. So stay tuned. Thank you guys for joining in, and hope you guys enjoyed this. And cheers.
Cheers.